meanings that we have taught. And she found that the primary reason that children were not remembering the meaning is that they were unsure of the pronunciation. Unsure of the pronunciation. And this is so significant because when we process, we read a word and we process it, we don't process it in our part of our brain that is visual memory, but rather phonological memory, which is the sounds of the words. And so if I don't pronounce it correctly, I cannot attach meaning to it, store it, and retrieve it. So then she said, well, what could we do? And everybody put your hand back on your lap. The word is despondent. What word, everyone? Despondent. Slow it down and say the parts. Despondent. Now I'm getting teachers all the way through high school chemistry to do that. And explaining to the children in high school that if you cannot pronounce it accurately, you will not remember it, and you will not be able to use it, and you will also not have the accurate pronunciation for the purpose of spelling. So there's big reasons to slow it down, tap out the parts, and say it. It takes 30 seconds, and it is time that is useful. Back to you, my students. So when you are despondent, you are very sad, but you also have no hope that things are going to get better. So when you're very sad and you have no hope that things are going to get better, we could say you are what, everyone? Despondent. Okay? And so with your face and your body, show me what despondent looks like. Okay, everybody show me not despondent. Okay, show me despondent. Show me not despondent. And stay that way for your career. All right. So another way that we could have actions. We could also use hand signals, and earlier today when we brainstormed, raise your hand if you had fist to 5 on your brainstorm. Okay, and a number of you had that. So this actually came out of an observation that you've made too, that particularly older students, when they don't understand something, don't raise their hand and say things like, can you explain it again? I'm not certain about this. Could you show it me another way? Could you clarify those directions? It's so unfortunate that children believe that if they have a question, it shows that they are stupid, and they don't want to appear stupid in front of their peers. So, in this study, they changed it a little bit. They taught the kids fist to 5. Fist meaning that I have no understanding at all, versus up to 5. It's really, I mean, I've totally mastered it, I've totally got it, woo-woo. And so the teacher would teach along, and then they say, show me fist to 5. And this would then change the teacher's behavior. Everyone went like this, or many of them, the teacher would say, oh, I need to reteach that. If everybody went like this, the teacher would say, I can move on. And so it's something I do often in math. I always do it in science, where you could get misconceptions so quickly. Well, we could also do something like this. So be my students and pretend this is on the word wall. So let's go back over some words that we've already learned. Number 1 is what word, everyone? Intention. And I model that, so I don't get this. You know, we're wise people, aren't we? And number 2 is what, everyone? Reluctant. And number 3 is enthusiastic. I'm going to tell you about one of these words, and you're going to form on your lap a 1, a 2, or a 3. I'm thinking of a word that means that you have a plan, that you have a plan. Think of which word would come closest to that meaning and put the number on your lap. And everybody, high in the air, show me. Excellent. And the word would be what, everyone? Intention. I say to myself, I'm thinking of a word that means that I, as a teacher, have great passion for what I'm doing, great energy for what I'm doing. Form the word I must be thinking of on your lap. And high in the air, show me. And the word is what, everyone? Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm. If you look at the Latin origin of enthusiasm, and it is energy of God. Whoa. That's what all of us need to give in every class, every day to kids. Okay, so, well, I want to look at one more issue in our remaining time, and that is reading in class. And The first point of reading in class is that we must have the children read. And I want to just talk to you a little bit about this because Tim Shanahan, a name that many of you know well, when he was head of Chicago's literacy, he went out and did a study with many of his team to see if the students were actually reading in class. And what they found was, particularly in middle school and high school, but even in intermediate grades, they found that the teacher was reading the directions. The teacher was reading the slides. The teacher was reading the introduction to the chapter. The teacher was. And the teacher was getting a lot better. But that is sort of not like the goal. And said, you know, if the students would read with this teacher, if the students would read the directions and the slides, they would get much more practice. And this is true. It is the number of words on the tongue that is going to lead to your gaze. Now, if you lived in Portland, Oregon, or Eugene, Oregon, where I taught at University of Oregon, the main sport, really, is track. So all the Olympic track trials, except two that they should never have had in Sacramento, but now it's back in Eugene, are there. That's the one I go to every 4 years, is the track Olympic trials. But my friends, I have 6 friends in a card group, and 5 of them run marathons. And so when they come from dinner, I cook, and they talk about running. And they'll sit there and they'll say, well, this week I ran a total of 26 miles, and this weekend I am going to be running hills. Can you join me? Well, I can't. And then a friend will say, no, I can't join you because I'm on the flats this week, and I've got to put in long distance. Another person will say, sure, I'll join you, but I need to do, oh gosh, and I just cook. They understand the big idea, and that is the more miles that they run, the better they're going to do on those marathons. And they do 5 to 10 of them a year. And so for them, it's miles on the feet, miles on the feet, miles on the feet. In terms of reading, if we want kids to be good readers, and reading continues to grow all the way through high school, we need to get words on the tongue, words on the tongue, words on the tongue. And so it's a perfect analogy. And so we've got to get kids to read. Well, here's the challenge. Today, the same as it was 10 years ago, and 20, and 30, and 40, and 50 years ago, this is the most common thing that's being done. Lisa, would you please read? Would you pick it up there? Would you continue reading? Would you read? Round robin reading is still the major way that kids are asked to read in classes. And there's some problems with that. Talk with your partner. What are the problems of round robin reading? I'll give you a hint. The biggest problem is it reduces the amount of reading of every child in the room because of the distribution of reading. But there's some other challenges. Talk it over with your partner and go. Okay, thank you. So, extraordinarily impressive. I ran up here just to get our 2 people who moved. Yes, because they thought they were home free. No, I found them. So, but here's what you said. One person said, well, if I call on one student, yes, everybody's going to get less reading practice, but also we're going to have behavioral problems because we're talking about a major boy. True? Another idea was in relationship to the person you call on. If they're a low-performing student, could they be embarrassed reading in front of their peers? Yes or no? Yes. In fact, if they're having a lot of trouble, sometimes the students in class become a little uncivil and they try to give words to them and they start prompting them. But most of you focus on the persons that are meant to be following along on being totally on task. And basically you said, woo-woo, they aren't. And you were right. The best thing that I ever saw, well, I'll come back to that. But anyway, so in a classroom, we don't have everybody reading. So here's some practices that we could use and stood up that. Now, is it ever appropriate to call on individual children? Yes, if you have a small group and you're an interventionist, or you have a small group in elementary school, and I really need to hear you read and you read and you read and you read. But you can take care of lots of those challenges that you cannot take care of when you have 30 kids. So a small group, it works well. I could instead have you read silently, but here is the problem, and that is the number of silent reader thinkers who will down, look up, and say, I'm done. True? All through the grades. Now here was the best faker of all times. I'm in an 8th grade. The students I've asked to read, and I come over to this one young man, and he is talking to his partner. His book is sitting here, and he's running his finger over the book. And I turned to him and I said, do you think I believe that you are a finger reader? And I said, if it was Braille, okay, it's not. At least you have to look at the words. But that is the problem, fakers in silent reading. So I want you to be my students here. Students, you're going to read this slide. If you get to the word question before I say stop, go back and read again. Now, as you're reading, if I come to you and I put my hand on your back or my hand on your paper, you're going to whisper read to me, just loud enough so I can hear it, not so loud as to interrupt everyone else. Everybody, reading the slide to yourself. If I come to you, whisper read to me and begin. Excellent. Okay, so looking up there. First of all, if I posed a question and then reiterated it afterwards, might you feel more accountable for reading it? Yes or no? Okay? And then I said, if you get to the word question and I haven't said stop, go back and read it again. And so when your head pops up and you say, I'm done, I simply say, sweetheart, you are never done. But what I really want you to do is put a star by right here, have individuals whisper read to you. Basically, I use all silent reading as an opportunity to monitor the reading of individual children. Because if I'm an elementary teacher, like in 4th grade, I can't afford to call on one child at a time out of the 28. But I also need to hear everybody read constantly. So I'm going to hear you and you and you. But even in middle school and high school, I do this. If I'm a chemistry teacher in high school, do I need to know if my children can actually read the chemistry book? Yes or no? Yes. Absolutely. But I don't have time to test all of the 180 kids I see in your high schools. And so, but the first weeks of school, when they're reading, I'm walking around and having them whisper read to me. So I have formative assessment on their reading. And I might have to adjust what I'm doing based on the fact I have many kids who can't read the material independently. Then we could have them do oral reading. And one part of oral reading is echo reading. And so, looking up here, I'm going to read a phrase and then you read it. Teacher reads a word.
Teacher reads a word.
Phrase or sentence.
Phrase or sentence.
Students echo read the word.
Students echo read the word.
Phrase or sentence.
Phrase or sentence.
Okay, and everybody looking at the screen. Look at the screen. Use for building fluency.
Use for building fluency.
And expression.
And expression.
Needs to be faded.
Needs to be faded.
As students grow in reading skills.
As students grow in reading skills.
Okay, notice that you don't even have to see it to say it. That is the problem with echo reading. So it is utilized often in the primary grades, but then you're going to have to be certain the kids are touching the words and following along. Okay, we can also do choral reading. Be my students. We're going to read this together, and I want you to keep your voice with mine. And begin, everyone. Read selection with students. Read at a moderate rate. Tell students, keep your voice with mine. So it's a reminder for us not to read it very, very fast, but at a moderate rate. But also, could you have some kids who thought it was cute to rush ahead of the group? Is that possible? If you expected, pre-corrected, everybody. If you expected, pre-corrected. So I say to the students, keep your voice with mine. We can also do closed reading, which I've done with you today. I'm going to read when I stop, say the next word. Read,
Selection.
pause and delete meaningful
Words.
Have students read the deleted
Words.
possible
Uses.
when you want to read something
Quickly.
and have everyone
Attending.
closed reading, a good one to add to our repertoire, particularly middle school teachers. We did a study on task behavior where we compared silent reading and closed reading and choral reading and partner reading and calling on individuals in middle schools. And we actually found that closed reading led to the most on-task behavior. Now we could call on individuals, but that should pretty well be used only with what kind of group? Small groups. And we could have students read with a, what, everyone, a partner. And this is one I often use as a reread in the primary grades. We've read the story together, we've read it using oral reading, and now we need to read it one more time for practice, and they read it to a partner. In middle school and high school, I use it where we might do the first part of a chapter together, and then they continue reading it with a partner. Let's go over here at the end of our time. The challenge with partner reading is, could you have someone who cannot read it to their partner? Could that happen?
Yes.
And it's inevitable, right? So you gotta have a method, gotta have a method in mind. So from research studies, here are some methods. One is to not have them read it to each other, but to read it together. So if I'm a coach and I'm working with kindergarten and first grade teachers, I would always have the first partner work, they are reading it together, so that one is scaffolding each other. This came from another study by Fuchs and Fuchs when they did the PALS study, their use of partners to teach many different subject areas. And what they did is they gave the kids partners, just like we've done with you, 1 and 2, but the one that had the highest rate of reading, they gave it number 1, and then the others to the number 2. And so they simply said this, and this was verified, validated in 2nd and 3rd grade. And so the teacher would say, 1s, read page 13 to your partner. Now 2s, read page 13 to your partner. Would the lower reader do better having just heard it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Another possibility is having a triad. Too bad Jimmy's absent today because Liz, your lack of scaffolding is gone. They're very good sports, but anyway, so pretend Jimmy is here, yeah. And so if I say 1s, read it, then read it to the 2 of you. If I say 2s, then Jessie, you will scaffold her, Lisa, and read it together. Okay? My favorite, though, with older students is this one, me or we. And so I say to children, you're reading with your partner, you're going to alternate on the paragraph. When it's your turn, if you believe you can read it accurately and fluently, then say me, and you'll read it to your partner. But you can also choose to say we, and then you're inviting your partner to read it with you. And it's such a simple thing that I love it because the children are taking responsibility for their scaffolding themselves. Now we did have to go to a few students.
Yes.
You know that me and we? Girl, we. Let's practice that. We, yes. Okay, so we had to support some children. Well, summing it up, we don't have time to do that because our time is up. The teacher, the thing here, just some additional things. The teacher should not only get many responses, but needs to, what, everyone? Monitor. Now, here is the most important thing about monitoring, is that if the students are writing, or if the students are talking to a partner, then the teacher cannot just stand in front of the room. The teacher needs to move out and monitor. Walk around, look around, talk around. Strategy from Stan Payne's research. Walk around, look around, talk around, everyone. Walk around, look around, talk around. If there was one advice, raise your hand if you're an administrator in middle school or high school. Please work on this. Because too many teachers stand, sit at their desk, sit on a stool. And then they're not able to give feedback, they have management problems, they need to walk around, look around, talk around, everybody. Walk around, look around, talk around. But also they're connecting to individual students and increasing that teacher-student relationship. So it's so important in elementary school, but where I never see it is at the middle school and high school. Walk around, look around, talk around. And when they talk around, they are going to give feedback. I'm just flipping over here to this diagram. And they're going to use what we call peck, peck, peck. P for praise, E for encourage, and C for correct. Peck, peck, peck. P for praise, E for encourage, and C for correct. And we're going to end with this statement. Sort of sums up our time together. And read it, everyone.
Learning is not a spectator sport.
You know, some children really try to believe that it's a spectator sport. That all I have to do when I come to high school is sit. And I've met my entire obligation by being here. But the amount of learning is so reduced. And so when principals say what's the first thing we should be working on at our schools, I would always say active participation. Tell your partner one thing that you can share with your teachers that you work with from today that you thought was useful. First ones and twos, share one thing that you think would be useful to take back. Beautiful job. So I had a delightful morning with you, and maybe I'll see some of you tomorrow morning, but it was a total gift. And when you get the PowerPoint, you could look at it and say, well, let's break it down and do it over time. Like a little bit at this staff meeting, go out and do it. A little at the next staff meeting, go out and do it. And certainly the administrators that are here, coupled with the coaches and the teacher leaders, could work on this together. All right, go have a good afternoon. Thank you.